Finally, what we've all been waiting for. A tier list for speed cubes. So I get way too many questions asking me, what's the best cube, the MF3 RS3 or the GAN X? Well, there's more than just those two. Now, cube reviews are great because when a new cube comes out, I can compare it to other cubes that maybe other people have already tried. But the problem with it is I can't compare older cubes to the newer ones when the older cubes come out. So for example, my first review was on the GTS2 and nothing on this list had come out yet by then. So all I can say is it's good. I compared it to cubes of the past, but I couldn't compare it to what we have now. So if you go look at that review now, it's kind of useless because yeah, I'm saying it's really good, but it's like, I'm not comparing it to anything that exists now. And it wouldn't really make sense to keep making new reviews of old cubes. So I might as well just compare them all in a tier list video. So this is going to be a mix of my opinion and what I think other people would agree with. For example, if I don't like a cube, but it's very popular, I'll still move it high on the tier list. Or if I like a cube and a lot of other people don't, then I'll lower it a little bit. So it's going to be my opinion about what I think is objective about these cubes. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to work. Let's just start. All right, I'm going to start with a very normal, everyone likes this cube. I'm going to start with the GTS2, and that's going to go in B tier. And I'm also going to throw the Volk in there. By the way, these are all the magnetic versions. I'm not talking about any non-magnetic cubes here because they are just not as good. All right, so these two cubes are both very similar in that their corner cutting is not like super good. The GTS2 has like, I'd say its magnets aren't really strong enough for how fast it is. And meanwhile, like the Volk is a little bit slow. It doesn't need magnets that much. And I think everyone likes them and they suit like a wide range of people, which is why I think a lot of people have these as their main. And if you haven't found your particular set of qualities that you want in a cube, then these are like, you really can't go wrong with them. All right, next we're gonna go with the MF3 RS2. I think a lot of people might put this in the same tier as the GTS2 and the Volk. I'm gonna put it above, and that's because it has one good thing, which is it corner cuts actually better than the GTS2 and the Volk, like slightly over 45 degrees, and the reverse corner cutting is actually a little bit better. The problem is it's a little bit slow, and I usually don't actually mind 3x3 cubes being a little slow. That's where my opinion like kind of throws it over B tier, but if I was trying to be totally objective, I might actually put it together with the GTS2 and the Volk. Let's look at the MF3 RS3. So these cubes, like all of these cubes, there's nothing wrong with any of them in any of their traits. Like for example, their corner cutting, their magnets, speed, control, all of those, they're all great in all of them. The problem for any of these is going to be the combination of them. So for the RS3, compared to the RS2, it's pretty much the exact same thing, but a lot faster. And I don't like it because of that. The magnets are still too weak, and just the way the cube's built, it doesn't seem to work with being really fast, and I get catches all the time. So I'm gonna actually drop this all the way down to D tier. It's not bordering on unusable, but I wouldn't say I just dislike it. I'd say I really dislike it. All right, but the MF3 RS2 and RS3 are both pretty cheap, and this tier list has nothing to do with price, so the price is not going to affect their placings, but if it was about price, I'd probably move this up a little bit. Okay, next, the Little Magic is also, it starts $5 if it's non-magnetic, but then magnetic is like, I'd say just under 20 from SPEEDCUBE shop. It's got strong magnets, it's very fast. It's kind of similar to the RS2 in that everything works really well together, and I think it's got a lot going for it. The problem is its corner cutting is not as good, and it's kind of like in the ranks of the GTS2 and the Volk. So I'm gonna put it over here. By the way, my main is the GTS2, but made slower by putting in MF3 RS2 springs. Unfortunately, I can't rank that, but if I could rank that, I'd probably put it like A tier because I don't think it's amazing. I just think that it works for me right now. All right, now let's look at the GTS3. The GTS3 is going to get an A tier for me. Totally my opinion would have it on S tier because its corner cutting is great. It's very fast and has really strong magnets. I feel like everything about it works well together. I don't mind the ridges on it, like the ridges on the outer parts of the cube, but a lot of people do mind it, and a lot of people feel like that makes the cube not only feel weird, but makes it feel larger, and I can see where they're coming from, and I don't mind it, but I'm going to put it in A tier because trying to be a little bit objective, other people don't like it, so yeah. Next is the Wayland WR, which is the same thing as the GTS3, except it has weaker magnets, which I don't feel like works quite as well with how fast it is, and it also loses the ridges. So I think a lot of people like it because it doesn't have the ridges. I personally don't mind, but I feel like the magnet strength being weaker, I don't know, do people like this more? I personally don't, and I cannot do very well on this, so it's gonna go C tier. It's like I can do well on it if I try, but there's so many more options that I can do better on, and I'm not bad on it by any means, so if I had to use it, it's like, whatever. It's not like I'm doing worse on it like the MF3 RS3. All right, speaking of cubes I don't do bad on, the Kylan V2. This one's super cheap, and I'd put it like super high up if this was about price, but I would put the Kylan V2 in the same tier right here. You know, it's a budget cube. Its design isn't like super great, so I wouldn't rank it with B tier with all these like pretty good cubes that I think everyone would like. It's like almost there. I'd actually like it might, there's no particular ordering within these, but if I had to, I may even put it above the WR because I think all of the things together work well together. It's like $10 and everything about it is just very normal. It's kind of like the GTS2 or the Valk, but slightly worse, but really cheap. Okay, and the Yulong V2 is like $8, and it's gonna get an E tier for me. I really don't like it. It's not like that bad. E tier doesn't mean bad. Remember, none of these cubes are actually bad. It's just that I don't know, a lot of other people like it. Maybe it can get a D tier, but I really like the MF3RS3 better than the Yulong. The Yulong really feels like a not top of the line cube to me, and I would never have it as my main. So for something that I literally don't think I could main, I'm gonna put it on E tier. The YJ MGC. I remember when I made a video about this thinking it was going to be really good, and then they made the final product way different than the prototype that I got. The prototype that I got was like too fast. I was like, oh, you know, just slow it down a little bit. Then it came out as like the slowest cube ever. I don't know why that happened, but anyway, we're going to put this on E tier as well. I like the prototype a lot more. It does have a really unique feel. It has that going for it, and it's like not a bad cube at all, but I definitely cannot do quite as well on this compared to the other ones because its corner cutting is not as good, and it's like the MF3RS2 is slow, but the MGC is slow to the point where I feel like I cannot turn as fast. On the MF3RS2, it's just like I'll try to turn a little bit harder, but on the MGC, I just can't. All right, and the hopeful upgrade over the MGC V2, which was faster, which was a plus, gets F tier because its corner cutting is just so weird and it locks up like for no reason at all. Speaking of F tier, I'm about to make a whole separate tier just for the Valk power. So here's a little story. When I was reviewing the MGC V2, I remember thinking, oh, that's the corner cutting is really weird. Is the Valk power similar? Like, is that why I can't do well on it? Because it felt really similar to me. It's like, is that why I just dislike the Valk power so much? And turns out, like, if you can go watch the video to see what exactly I'm talking about. But then I thought, well, the Valk power's got to be better, right? I mean, it's basically a Valk. So I did a few solves in the Valk power back then, and then I did even worse than on the MGC V2. I don't know, some people like this. A lot of really good cubers like this. Unlike the MGC V2, I don't feel like anyone likes this. I could raise it, but I won't. This is the one that I got the 2 6-second singles on in competition. So my two best solves in competition are on the Huanglong, but my worst averages are on the Huanglong. So it's when I forgot to bring my main. So I'm gonna say this gets. I mean, I don't really like it that much, but I don't see anything wrong with it. I guess it's a little bit fast and weird to control because of it, but I can see a lot of people liking that. And I feel like a lot of people haven't tried it. I brought it to US Nationals last year and I just told everyone to try it and everyone really liked it. Okay, so I'm trying to think how many cubes up here do I need to get rid of before the Huanglong would be my main. It's kind of like between B and C tier. I'm going to put it like at the bottom of B tier. Okay, I don't know why I left all the GAN cubes for the end. I definitely think everyone likes this. It's definitely better than what I have here in C tier. It's like super smooth. It feels amazing to turn. Its corner cutting is a little bit weird. Maybe better than the GTS2, kind of like Valk levels of corner cutting. I really liked this cube when I was using it and it was my main at some point. You know what? My heart says A tier. Plus world records were set on it, so I think I can justify that. Okay, Diane Tangyan. This one's like super fast and for some reason like the more I use it, the faster it gets and the weaker the magnets feel. I was gonna say I feel like I have to like tiptoe, but it's with my fingers, so it's like I have to not touch the cube very hard because otherwise it just like does U6. Yeah, I would say it like actually handicaps my ability to solve because of just how fast it is. Kind of like the MGC is too slow. The Yulong just kind of feels weird. Yeah, I can definitely do better on the RS3 than this Hangyan. GAN 354. All of its performance qualities are good. It's a little small, but I've mained a Moyu Aolong like mini before, so I don't think I really have a problem with small cubes, but this cube is like really hard to use for some reason, and I think a lot of people share the same sentiment about it. I think Max Park uses it, so it's got that, but like that's one person. Like if I try to do anything good on this cube, like turn fast or like do anything, it just kind of punishes me by overshooting and like having weird lockups. I've tried different customizations on it because I always thought like small cubes would be fine for me. My hands aren't that big. So when it came out, I was like really excited and then it just ended up being really bad, at least for me. I think it's kind of like in the C or D tier where it's like I can do stuff on it, but I have to really be careful and I can't kind of turn how I normally do like I can with the stuff on B tier. Like on B tier, I don't have to get used to those cubes. They're just good right away. Here, I'm gonna put it in D tier because I kind of don't like it. All right, now the 356X, is it gonna get S tier? Well, it's not my main and it never has been my main, but I've always said that it could be. If I say a cube is the best or it's my main at a time, it doesn't mean that it's like literally better than every other cube. It just means, for example, sometimes I turn more accurately, sometimes I'm turning faster, and it also depends on like my level of look ahead. I do like faster or slower turning depending on what I'm practicing. And my main was the GTS 3 when I first tried the GAN X, so I never like had a time where I wanted to shift to a different cube that was also fast, because the GAN 356X is really fast. It's also pretty customizable, and I think that alone could throw it to S tier. I mean, it's so popular. I know so many people who use this cube, and I don't know a single person who actually doesn't like it. A lot of people use different settings on it. The customization's super easy. This is the only one bordering on A and S tier. If this was totally my opinion, we'd have more in S tier. I would probably throw all of these into S tier as well, but I don't think everyone would agree with that. These two are bordering on S tier, and I think other people would say leave them lower. And I think this one's bordering on S tier, but a lot of people would put it on S tier. So I think I may put this here, but it's like a really low S tier. So I think I'm pretty satisfied with this tier list. I'm even hesitant to have the GAN X on the S tier. I'm hesitant to put anything on S tier because there's not anything that I think is like super amazing. The last cube I thought was super amazing was the GTS 3, but I think it's just because it happened to align with my preferences at the time. Also, I don't even know how close we are to the limits of cubing technology. Like, at any point, will we have like slightly curved cubes, or like, you know, depending on the science of your hands and fingers and like different ones for different people? That would be really interesting. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.